Welcome. I'm Jessie, life and mindset coach, here to help you level up in your game of life. This podcast will deliver game-changing life advice, power play pep talks, and move-making energy. I'm all about life optimization through mindset growth and taking radical action. Welcome to my world. Let's play. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Master Your Mindset podcast. Today I actually have a guest with me and we have Nicola Reynolds, so aka Holistic Nix, as you will find her on Instagram. Nicola is a health and lifestyle coach for women. So first of all, welcome to the Master Your Mindset podcast, Nicola.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
Yay, I'm so excited, and I'm really excited to talk deeper about health, hormone health, gut health, and all of that sort of stuff, because it's always super eye-opening, in my opinion, to hear all the different things when it comes to this, because I don't personally look at this myself or coach on this myself. I'm like, every time I have someone on that gives you all of that information, you're like, whoa, there's something that I really need to think about here in order to optimize my life. So I'm very, very excited. And so I know that you also are an ex-yacht-stew, just like me, and you, is it recently transitioned out of yachting, maybe a few years ago? I'm super keen to hear about your transition, like your story, your journey in terms of transitioning from living on the water, breathing, living, working, everything to do with working on the water, to land life, because I know that sometimes it can be quite difficult. We can have a lot of emotions, a lot of things come up for us. So I'm super eager to hear how that transition went for you.
Yeah, so just a little bit of background on me. So I'm actually South African, grew up in South Africa before I started yachting. And if you've not been well, you have to be in yachting to realize what the industry is about. And it's a completely different world. And you don't realize that until you're actually in yachting. And so how I got into yachting was I grew up in South Africa and then I lost my dad to cancer. And I just kind of needed some sort of escape, something fun, something exciting. And that's exactly what yachting is all about. And so I went and joined yachting and I was in there for about, I think it's almost 5 years. And during this time, COVID happened and I was stuck on the boat for 10 months. I didn't touch land. I didn't really see anybody else except the people I worked with, and some of them came on and came off. And that was my life for 10 months. And people say, how did you do it? And I'm like, you just do. You don't realize how, time just goes by and you just keep doing the same thing, the same thing. And there's so much good about yachting. But then you also realize a lot that you miss on land. So I left a lot earlier than I was going to. So I had no plan for the transition onto land. So a lot of people they maybe start studying while they're in yachting, or if they want to start their own business, they start while they're at work. But I left a lot sooner because I realized how much time I missed when I was on board for those 10 months. And I also met my partner and he's not in yachting. And long distance just definitely wasn't for me. So I think because of I didn't have a plan to leave yachting, the transition was really difficult. Um, you know, in yachting, the pace of life is so fast. There's always something exciting. You're always traveling. You're earning a lot of money. I mean, as you know, you earn an amount of money you'll never earn on land. So when you do transition back on land, it's really difficult. You're trying to fill that void that you feel like you're missing from yachting because you're not earning that money and you don't really know what you want to do. I've actually worked with a few clients where that's been their biggest struggle because they feel that they're the only ones that feel this way. And then when I speak to them and tell them my story, they are like, oh my goodness, I thought I was the only one that felt this way. So the transition from sea life to land life is quite a big adjustment. And I did struggle with that. There was a few times where I was like, have I made the biggest mistake? Should I have stayed longer? Should I go back and just earn some more money? Life was easier in yachting because you guaranteed your money basically. If you got your job, you guaranteed to almost get another job. But then when I came back on land, luckily my partner is very supportive, so it made it a bit easier. But I just did not know what I wanted to do. I thought what I should do is go into a corporate job because that's the easiest thing to do is go into a corporate job. So that's what I did. I took a temporary business assistant job and I just sat there and I was like, I've gone from living on the sea to seeing all these exotic places to sitting behind my desk and on a computer. I was like, I can't do this. Um, so I left that. And then again, I felt, what do I want to do? Everyone knows what they want to do. Everyone is in what they want. How is it just me that doesn't know what I want to do? And I don't know if you felt like that when you left, but I definitely did. I felt like I was the only one, felt like lost, and I was the only one that didn't know what to do in this time. And again, I was still putting my foot in that door to go back, kept going. Maybe I'll just go for temp work. Maybe I'll just do it for a little bit longer. And there was just something telling me, don't do it, because I know that if you keep putting that foot in that door, you'll never leave. So that's a lot of what was going through my mind in that time. So I don't know if I answered your question there, but
Yeah, no,
yes,
100%.
that
I
transitioning was difficult.
I feel like a lot of people, especially if you are coming from yachts, especially if you are you working on yachts, it is a very, very difficult transition. It's such a different life compared to land life, like you say. So I know quite a few people that have sort of put their foot back in and come back out and put their foot back in just because of the vast differences between yacht life, land life. And for those who have always been on land life, probably don't exactly understand. But if the reason that I asked you about the transition as well, and just to understand your story and get to know you a little bit more as well, is just because we do different transitions through our life. Like every human, we transition out of school to being a human that has a job, or we transition from jobs. Maybe we're doing what we want to do with our uni degree and then we decide actually that's not what I want to do, and you want to transition to a completely different career. Transition from being just you and your partner to motherhood, that sort of thing. That, like, humans go through so many different transitions in life, so it's just a really cool reminder to know that. And also, you said that you thought this yourself, you felt this way, you felt alone. You're like, why does everyone have their shit together and I don't? And it's like, well, actually, it's a really cool reminder that, like, okay, it's okay, whatever I'm going through and you at that time, or even me when I'm going through my transitions, I know that there are other people out here. I'm not alone, and this is a normal thing. And now it's just part of growing and like moving on to the next stage. So I love that, and I also love that you were able to find your passion and your dream job that to help people. So I'm really eager to get into the health side of things, the health and lifestyle coach as Nicola. So yeah, tell me, well, first, actually, let's just hear about what you do, what you coach on. Like, what is the gist of what you do?
Yeah, so I'm basically completely different to what I thought I'd ever do. I mean, I studied a business marketing degree, and then I went into yachting, and then I went into fun employment where I wasn't doing anything. And then I've absolutely landed the best thing that I'm so passionate about. And I always have been passionate about it, but I never thought I could make a career out of it because I thought I've studied business, and it's that constant battle between that people always have this constant battle that they have in their mind going, I've studied business, so I've got to go into business, or I've studied a law degree, so I've got to do law. But things change and you do change as a person. So when I left yachting, I had quite a few health issues, but a lot of it came before yachting, and then in yachting, it made it a lot worse. Not blaming the industry at all, but it is a different industry, fast paced, a lot of pressure. like I've said, you're earning so much money, so you're doing things you would never do on land. So when my dad passed away, I got PTSD and chronic anxiety, which I never dealt with. And when you go to a doctor, what they do is they put you on a tablet, and then that's all they did. So none of my lifestyle changed, my diet didn't change, sleep didn't change, nothing. So you're relying on like medication to try and get you through. And then in yachting, definitely drank a lot more than I should have. You don't have control of your food and you're very stressed, but you're stressed about such minute situations. Sometimes you're stressed because you didn't deliver the food on time, or I once got in trouble because I had a little bit of jitters, which I couldn't control. So it's things like that that do make you stressed. And then after yachting, I took time off to just heal myself, because I was like, you can't continue this way. And I didn't want to rely on tablets myself, because I knew that if you take painkiller, it affects your digestive system. If you take an antidepressant, it's actually affecting your mood. And there is always a time and place for medication. I'm not saying never ever take it. There's definitely a time and place, and you do need it in situations. But it's more, I didn't want to rely on them. And this is where I started healing myself, with studying nutrition. And then I realized that something just came to me, and I was like, wow, this is exactly what I'm passionate about, and how I can help other women in a similar journey, just to guide them through what they're going through. Because again, people feel like they're alone, they can't talk about it. So I just want to advocate and just let women know that there are things for them to do to heal their hormones, to heal their gut health. So that's how I got into it. So I ended up studying further and got certified into a integrative nutritional health coach. And then I've been specializing in hormone and gut health, because that's what I've been through. So I can resonate with females in a similar situation. And especially at the moment, with how the world is changing, it's becoming very fast paced and 24-hour work and stressful. Our food is changing. So people are being affected a lot more than they used to be. So that is why I thought I want to help people. I want to help women as much as possible. So that's how I got into being a health coach. And especially, I work with women in yachting and women out of yachting, but especially in yachting, a lot of symptoms are suppressed, and females only feel it when they leave yachting or go on leave, and they get hit a lot harder than they could have been if they did deal with it at that time. So that's what I want to do. I kind of want to spread awareness to start looking at the symptoms now and not leaving it to later on. So that's what I'm driven to do. Very passionate.
Yeah, I love that. And oh, when you're talking about stressing about the minute things, things that don't even really have much to do with you, it's everything that you're trying to give and for the experience of the guests and everyone else around you.
Yeah.
It's like I totally get it. And so I love that. I love that you're spreading the word, like especially even in yachting. I know that you work both with clients on land and in yachting, but like because that is like really needed. It's really needed for anyone, it's really needed if you are living in a state of stress and it's, you're really living in an autopilot sort of way, then and you're stressing about all of the little things that don't like life is so much bigger than that, but we can't see that. We're so blind to it because the stress is just taking over our body. I mean, the way that I like to say it is it will manifest into other things. And so that's why I think that it's really important to have people like you to bring the awareness and to also help people through that while they're going through it and after, but also hopefully so that we can minimize any sort of thing that could come up for you. So I really love that.
Absolutely, because a lot of females, and I'm talking about females because that's what I'm in, and I feel that way.
Yep.
But a lot of it is, we think, because we constantly have this argument in our head that different times of your cycle, you do have less energy. Your mood does go down, and you do feel like you're getting puffy and swollen. And in that time, females then they start blaming themselves, or they start thinking about what have I done differently that now I'm picking up weight. But it's not that you're picking up weight. It's just to become aware that you're in your part of the cycle where you are retaining more water. You are feeling a bit swollen or puffy, and it's fine because next week it'll all be gone. But if you're now going to a diet, or you stop eating, or you stop drinking, it creates this negative mindset and this negative, knock-on effect, because it is natural for females to change how they are feeling because it's part of your cycle. We have so many different hormones compared to men. And men, and we're always comparing ourselves to our partners. Like, I do have clients that go, oh, but my partner can eat 4 burgers and still look good and then go to the gym the next day. But we are different. We can't do that. And this is why women should stop comparing themselves to men, because we go through so many hormones internally throughout the whole month. We're not the same person today that we will be tomorrow. But when women become more aware of that, and they know how to listen to their body, that will reduce your stress, and your mindsets will become so much better. So that's kind of what we're aiming towards.
I love that 100%. I actually did, and this is kind of going a little bit rogue, but why not? I
Mhm.
did myself because I was actually going to become a menstrual educator or a menstrual coach. And I did like some very in-depth courses and things. But the more you learn about your body, the more like it's like whoa, like our body, like I think that's the moment where I started to like fully accept everything that is going on, because like my body is doing some pretty incredible things, and like the more that I can work with it, the more optimal my life is going to be. Like it's almost like, so obviously I'm a mindset coach, and I say your internal world creates your external world, and also like your external world is reflected from what your internal world is looking like. So it's like I do that from a mindset point of view, but like this as well, it's the exact same. When you work with your body, what's going to happen, and like, or what is happening within your body, your external world can be beautiful, like it can feel optimal. And so this is why I think this is just a really, really important topic. And yeah, when you start to like learn more about your body, you can really work with it. And you're right, like we live on a, what, I don't know what the word is, but like a monthly cycle rather than men who live on a daily cycle. So it's
Yeah.
like we are definitely going to be different people, like the different moods, the different hormones, the different everything that is going to happen for us that day. And we just need to understand them first so that we can leverage the strengths within them rather than blaming them. And then that's just like not going to get us anywhere.
Yeah, well, it's the same when, like you were saying, when you start learning what your body's going through, you almost become empowered that you can literally just feel what your body's going through. It makes you feel empowered because you know what to do in that time. So it's the same as so just before you get your period, you're craving sugar and you crave like bad foods. But the more sugar you eat, the worse your PMS will get. So it's knowing that, yes, I am craving this, but instead of having the sugar, maybe I should go and have a nice warm bath, or maybe I should go for a walk. So it's kind of just knowing that it's okay that you're feeling this way, and it's normal. But it's just changing your outcome and your situation to help you through those times. Because especially now with hormones, females 2 weeks before they get their periods, they're very much like scared, frustrated, anxious, because they know how they're going to feel. So just listening to your body and knowing what's happening can heal that situation, and make it become a more positive thing, because going through these phases in your cycle is empowering as a female, because it's incredible what your body is doing, and it's working with you. So it's just what we have to do is work with our body as well.
Yeah, I love that so much. It's like when we are informed, we can make an informed decision. And it's always a matter of a choice, whether it's like whether we know and we like whether we are uninformed or not, we always have a choice that we are going to be making. It's just when we're uninformed, we will usually make the choice that is to go and have the sugar, before our period comes, which will result in like those outcomes that we don't necessarily want. So I love that. And then so I know that you speak mainly on like hormone health and gut health. I'm super interested to get into hormone health. Um, can you tell us a little bit more about hormone health before we get down into like the nitty-gritty? What is hormone health? Like, what do we need to know about hormone health?
So, so not to go in detail because we have an abundance of information out there. So life is becoming, you can get information on the tip of your fingers, whether it's on social media, on the internet, and it actually becomes overwhelming because you've got too much information that your brain can't process it. So basically, hormones are just communicators in your body. So they tell you when you're hungry, they tell you when you're full, they tell you when you feel good, they tell you when you feel bad. So you have over 50 different hormones in your body, and they're still trying to figure out what some of them do. But the main ones, you have cortisol, which has got to do with your stress, which we are all living off high cortisol. And cortisol is basically how it should be, is high in the morning and lower at night. And then at night, it should change to where your melatonin, which is your sleep hormone, that's when that should start increasing. So it should be like a opposite effect. Cortisol high in the morning, low in the evening, and then melatonin should be low in the evening and then low in the morning and high in the evening to help you sleep. But because of how our lifestyle is at the moment, it's kind of affecting it because your sleep hormone is supposed to be high at night, but it's blocked when you're sitting on your phone because of that blue light. So everything you do directly impacts your hormones in every way. So that's why at night, when you're lying in bed watching YouTube or reading like a book on your phone, trying to fall asleep and you can't fall asleep, is because you're actually physically blocking your hormones, your sleep hormone, and you bringing up your stress hormone. So that's why knowing all these different hormones can really help you live a much better life, because um, when you realize what like blocks your sleep hormone, you start dimming your lights, try and get off your phone an hour before you go to sleep, and you'll probably have one of the best night sleeps of your life. And then that affects the rest of your day, because if you sleep, you feel a lot more energetic during the day. So it's all a knock-on effect. And your hormones are extremely sensitive. So when one is imbalanced, it knocks every single one of them out. So yeah, so a lot of people come, what I deal with is a lot of hormone imbalances, and that's when your hormones are slightly too high or too low, and a few lifestyle and nutrient changes could actually help balance them. And once you start balancing one, it can really help balance the rest of them.
Yeah, it's like a domino effect. I love
Yeah,
that.
it is.
So, what obviously we all know like like you said earlier as well, like the pace of the world is changing, like it's becoming faster and faster and faster. And in order to sort of keep up with the way that the world is going, but also making sure that we are creating a world where our hormones can be healthy, like internally,
Mm.
what sort of things can we do or stop doing, like other than blue light? Like, what are the other lifestyle changes and nutritional changes that you say that we can make in order to make sure our internal body is creating that really beautiful space for our hormones to do its thing?
Yeah. So balancing hormones is so everything I do is holistically. So it takes time. So nothing I do is a quick fix, because the quicker it gets done, it's not guaranteed to last. So when you heal holistically, and this is what some people do struggle with, is that it takes time. But when you are healing holistically, you build a resilience. Your body builds resilience to bounce back when, because you will always experience stress in your life. Stress is not always negative. Your body needs to have the stress. It's the constant stress that we have, where our body doesn't know the difference between being late for an appointment or being chased by a lion. It responds in the exact same way. So this is what the issue that we have with the chronic stress, all the times that we are stressing about such small, minute things that is not going to be detrimental towards you or someone around you. So it's just trying to, trying to just calm yourself and let your brain and your body know that you're safe, and that if you're late by 10 minutes, it's okay, just to let your body know that. So yeah, so healing holistically does take time. So building that resilience with like your hormones and health is so important, and that's why you try and do it slowly. So it does feel overwhelming with what I might say, but don't feel like you need to be doing all of this right now and immediately. Just pick one, two, and you can build onto that. So some of the things that do help, your hormones is finding a stress relief technique for you, whether it's journaling, deep breathing, yoga, meditation. Try find something that makes you feel calm and you enjoy. And a lot of people go, oh, I've got to try and do meditation because that's what everyone does to calm themselves. But the only way you're going to calm down is if you enjoy it. Some people, their relaxing technique is having a bath or going for a walk or writing something down or reading, just trying to pick something that is for you, which is definitely one of the main things, because it doesn't matter how healthy you are eating. If you are stressed, it's just not going to help. So that helps. And then also creating a healthy sleep-wake cycle. So in the morning when you wake up, try, and I know this is really difficult because I still struggle with it, but try and avoid your phone for about half an hour because the first thing we do is pick up our phone and go on it, and that blue light affects our stress hormones. It actually increases our stress. So wake up in the morning, try get natural light on your face. So important. Let your body know that it's time to wake up. So doing that in the morning, waking up, natural light within the first half an hour, and then in the evening, try and create an environment that calms you down. So no violent movies just before you go to bed. Try avoid your phone about half an hour before you sleep. Start dimming your lights or switching them off, and then maybe pick something that will calm you, as in saying a few gratitude questions or reading a book, and anything that will try and keep you off your phone. That will definitely help your sleep hormone and your stress hormones, definitely.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. It's like, yeah, we can't, nothing great is going to come from a dysregulated nervous system. So once we start doing that, we can, like, we start doing the meditation or the yoga, the reading, all of these sorts of things. Once we start to create routines around them, then we can start to make decisions from like a regulated place, and that's how we're going to like domino effect from that as well. So I love that so much, and I totally agree. Like, blue lights are so bad. Just
I
so
know.
bad.
And I have blue light blocking glasses during the day because you also get really bad headaches because your body's just not used to having so much blue light and so much screen time. And then also one other thing that helps a lot with hormones is the way you eat. So like the order in which you eat your food helps your blood sugar. So another thing that a lot of people are talking about is your blood sugar management. And two of the main things that you can do for that is in the order you eat your food. So always start your meal with veggies or salad, whether that's a veggie starter, or if you're looking at your plate and your veggies are on that, just try and eat that first, because veggies, the fiber will slow the absorption of sugar into your blood. So you're not getting that blood sugar spike where you get a lot of energy, but then you crash and have a slump later on in the day, or you get sugar cravings. So the best thing is to always start with your veggies, then go to your protein, and then last have your carbs or your healthy fats, whatever you've got on your plate. And also another thing, I always used to eat fruit first. You know, when you go away and you go to like a buffet for breakfast, I always started with fruit. And although fruit is very healthy, I'm not saying stay away from fruit. It's just because fruit naturally has a lot of sugar. Eating that at the end after carbs completely last, again helps with insulin and your blood, the sugar in your blood, which is amazing. And then the second thing you can do is just go for a post-meal walk. It doesn't have to be far, it doesn't have to be long, 5 to 10 minutes. Just take a casual stroll. And what I say to my clients if they're on a boat, just go walk around on deck. Because obviously, if you're at sea, you can't just go for a walk. But just instead of going to your cabin and lying down, because what we always want to do is go and lay on a couch or lay on a bed after you've eaten, especially if you've eaten a lot. But the best thing that you can do is just go for a walk. Just 5 to 10 minutes will be amazing.
Yeah, great. That's yeah, I didn't realize that actually. Um, but so okay, how is our body going to tell us if we have an imbalance within our hormones? Like what sort of signs and symptoms are we looking out for, so that we
Yes.
can sort of, yeah.
That is a really important question because again, um, most people have don't realize they have a hormone imbalance because they just think like these symptoms are kind of like normal and you should feel that way. So I always say, well, it is always said, test, don't guess. So to get your hormones tested is really important. But when you should get them tested is when you start having irregular periods, you start getting really bad acne, but proper breakouts where it's around your jawline, on your neck. After when I was in yachting and I had really bad hormone imbalances, had no idea that I had them. I used to get extremely irritated, and I used to get really bad acne along my jawline all the way down my neck. And again, this was so negative because I was like, what am I eating? Why does my period do this to me? Like, what is wrong with me? Why is my body against me? So it's acne breakouts, brain fog where you just seems like nothing's going in. Irritability, a little bit of irritability is fine because your hormones are changing. Um, but it's when it starts affecting you and those around you where it becomes not normal. Um, periods that absent periods or menstrual migraines when you get really bad headaches. What else is this? So it's your acne. Yeah, so those are all the main ones that you can think of. Depression, that's also another thing when you feel like you get really depressed at some parts. When you start crashing in the afternoons, you could have a little imbalance there. Sugar cravings, cravings for salt sometimes, then there is some sort of balance inside.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. Now we can all like sort of look out for those potential symptoms and signs and see if that is happening for us. And knowing that when we do see these, our body is working with us and for us so that we can get back to an optimal state, like completely internally and externally. So I love that. And you also speak and coach on gut health. I'm really curious to see how gut health really works with hormone health and or just even separately. Yeah, tell us more about gut health.
So gut health is So gut health has become a new thing, but that's because so much research has been going into gut health and they're realizing how important your gut is and it impacts absolutely everything. If you have poor gut health, you're not absorbing nutrients, so your body's not getting the nutrients it needs. So that is one thing. And then also the gut is very involved in getting rid of toxins in your body. So if it's poor gut health, it's not getting rid of any toxins. So that's when, you start feeling you start feeling like you're getting very puffy or like you're taking on a lot of fluid. It's because your body is just cannot get rid of any of the toxins. And another example is, so a lot of females have estrogen dominance. So this doesn't mean that you have too much estrogen in your body. It could mean you have low progesterone. So it's more just in comparison between the two. Your estrogen might be a slightly higher. And one thing that the gut is involved in that is that your gut has little bacteria that help get rid of excess estrogen. So the estrogen will go through your liver, go through your gut to try and go out. But if you have poor gut health and your bacteria is bad, it actually activates the inactive estrogen, which goes and gets reabsorbed into your body. And that's when females will start getting their hormone imbalances, where it's PMS or menstrual migraines, because now they have excess estrogen because their gut is activating instead of removing. And then another thing is, so 70% of your immune system is in your gut. So if you have poor gut health, your immune system cannot help you. So you frequently get sick, or you recover a lot slower. 90% of your serotonin is in your gut. So if your gut health again is poor and you've got bad bacteria, it's not sending that important feel-good hormone to your brain. So start affecting your hormones, start affecting your mood. Because if your serotonin is not being produced in your gut because of the bad bacteria, you're not feeling that feel-good. Serotonin is that feel-good, happy hormone. So it's kind of depriving your brain and your body of that, of feeling good. And then also 50% of your dopamine is in your gut. So you're not getting that reward hormone, reward, feel good again. So that's how gut health and hormone health are connected in a very important way. And our gut is taking on a lot at the moment, especially because, again, like stress, when you're chronically stressed, your body goes into complete survival mode where it doesn't want to digest food. All it wants to do is keep you alive because your body thinks you're being chased by a lion. So the last thing that your body's going to want to do is digest any food. So your digestion slows, and then that's when you feel like you're getting constipated, or you just don't feel good because your digestion is just not working. So that's why it's just so important.
Yeah, yeah. And are there any differences between like the signs and symptoms that other than obviously falling sick quite often, are there any differences between the hormone symptoms and the gut symptoms of like where we might be sort of, I don't know if you would use the word imbalanced for your gut health. What sort of words would you use for that?
It would be more just poor gut health or an imbalance in your bacteria in your gut. So they call it dysbiosis, but that is basically just an imbalance in your gut bacteria. Symptoms for if you have, dysbiosis, or there's so many things, because you could have IBS, there could be other issues wrong, but commonly it is if you're constantly constipated, or you have diarrhea, or you have pain. So some of them can feel the same as a hormone imbalance, because another hormone imbalance is if you're getting constant pain, then there might be actually something else that you need to go get checked. But again, so gut health could be diarrhea, constipation, pain. You could get a lot of bloating. Again, you could feel like you're picking up excess weight, and that's another hormone imbalance symptom is you keep gaining weight. No, your lifestyle's not changing, but you're gaining weight. So yeah, so the two symptoms do sometimes feel the same, but there's definitely the gut. If you have bad gut health, it's more just, again, the diarrhea, constipation, or pain, bloating. Things are not really going down. You also get a lot of allergies. That could be another, allergies, intolerance. So one thing I found is I actually have an intolerance to caffeine. But when you have an intolerance, it can go away if you heal your gut health. So what you should actually do if you have an intolerance is completely stop eating that. Try heal your gut health, and then slowly start incorporating it back in if you can. I mean, if you have an allergy, it's completely different. Don't do that. But if you have an intolerance, so at the moment, what I'm doing is trying to get caffeine back into my life slowly. So yeah, that's little symptoms if you have poor gut health.
was actually going to ask you about that because I saw that you drink decaf coffee, and I was incorporating decaf coffee like the 2 weeks before, like when I was in my luteal phase, just before the menstrual phase, and then I just started drinking only decaf coffee. And I just because I love the taste, there's nothing about the coffee. Like I don't need the energy or anything. Anyway,
Yeah.
this is going off the point, but like I was going to ask you about that sort of thing when it comes to coffee a lot, because I know a lot of people do have decaf coffee more. Like what is it about like the decaf coffee versus the actual caffeine? Like what is it about caffeine that isn't like the best for us? Because obviously you're bringing it back into your diet. So it mustn't be something that's like too harming if you're saying like it's okay to bring back in.
Yeah, so caffeine itself is healthy. It's got antioxidants, so it does have healing effects on your body. It's more that the caffeine that we drink in these days, like from Starbucks or Costa or anything, they actually have toxins in, so they're not as clean as normal caffeine would be. There are some brands that are very clean. I use one that's called Exhale. Um, and they do a lot of research and make sure that there are no toxins in their caffeine. But I think what the issue is with coffee and how it is affecting hormones is that, especially in yachting, the first thing you do in the morning is have a cup of coffee or caffeine or an espresso. And so caffeine increases your stress hormones. So you're not allowing your stress hormone to naturally increase, you're kind of doubling it because you're putting caffeine into your body. So that's how it does affect your hormones. It's better to have the caffeine about an hour after you've woken up or after a meal, because then it's not the only thing that's in your stomach. It's when your stomach is empty and you now go and give yourself a shot of espresso, and now you're all, wired up, you start jittering. That's what I was doing. I mean, you're having coffee in the morning, your cortisol is already increasing, and then you go and give yourself a dose of caffeine. Um, so caffeine is healthy for you if it's drank in the correct way. So it's also trying to avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. because it stays in your system for a very long time. So again, if you're having caffeine later on the day, like 3, 4, 5, you're affecting your sleep because it's blocking your sleep hormone. So caffeine is good if you drink it, correctly, and not having like 7 cups in 1 hour, which some people do end up doing.
Literally, and especially if you're in yachting.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Again, I try and like explain because quite a few people actually have an intolerance to coffee, and trying to get them off the caffeine. Decaf tastes the same. It might taste slightly weaker, but that adjustment of going from caffeine to decaf was actually very natural and fine, because you still get like that coffee taste, but then you're not affecting your poor little gut that's trying to tell you, your body. The reason why you get these symptoms is because your body's trying to tell you something's wrong, it's not happy. So listening to your body. I mean, I used to have a cup of coffee and then 2 minutes later I was running to the bathroom. I mean, for me, I hated that. I couldn't go for a walk in nature because, well, I could, but I always wanted to do it with like a cup of coffee, and I'd be looking for a toilet somewhere and being like, I've got to go, I've got to go. And how your life can change just by listening. I can now go for a walk with a cup of coffee and I'm fine because it's decaf. And
Yeah.
it just changes so much when you do actually listen. So yeah, coffee's not bad for you. It's just when and how you drink it is what's important.
Yeah. It's actually so funny because when you say that, me too, like decaf for me tasted the exact same, but no one would believe me. I was just like, I promise you it does. Like if you're really, it does taste so similar. So
Yeah.
it's so interesting the way that the world is, isn't it? Where we just create these societal habits, for example, like the drinking coffee or just like whatever it is, and we just treat this as normal. So we do it and we do it and we do it, and we don't realize how detrimental to our gut health it is, or hormone health it is, or it might be. And we just continue doing it. So for me, like, I just find that so interesting how many things that we are doing or we are completely blind to or we are choosing to ignore, like symptoms in our body that aren't normal, but we choose or we say that they are normal, don't you think? Like,
Yeah, and a lot of it is, and what I do is a lot of the times we are very focusing on how we're feeling now, but we don't think about how we're going to feel in the future. So again, about a lot of what I do is I try help you age healthy aging. So what you do to your body now, how it's going to affect you later on in life, because we don't think about that. We don't think about what we're doing now will affect us when we're 50, 60, 70. We only realize when we are 50, 60, and 70, and we actually start getting diabetes, or we start getting some sort of cancer, or we start getting sick. A lot of the times that can come from your lifestyle. And that's why thinking about that now, with all the diseases increasing and people are getting sicker younger and younger and younger. And if you just start thinking about how is this food or how is my lifestyle going to affect me when I'm older, because you do want to age well. You do want a lot of energy when you're 50, 60. You want to play with your kids, you want to play with your grandkids. Like, you want to be there and you want to be able to go for your walks and go to the gym and move the way you want. But if you're not focusing on that now, you might struggle later on in life. And that's what I try and tell my clients as well. It's building habits that are going to benefit you later on in life. Because I mean, I'm 30 now, but when I was 20, I used to look at 30-year-olds and think they're old. But now I'm 30, I'm like, I'm actually young. So I'm going to feel that same way, because you are going to age and you're going to reach somewhere. So it's just thinking about how this activity, or how is my life impacting me in the future. And I think sometimes we just need a reminder of that, because when you are 50, you think, oh, I should have done that, or I should have not done this. Um, and the same goes with like that quick fix and the quick pill is, how is that medication going to make you feel later? If you need to take it, 100% take it. But if there's maybe a natural, holistic way for you to heal how you're feeling at the moment, like if you have the flu, to try not avoid taking antibiotics all the time, because you are affecting yourself and you're affecting your gut and your hormones. So that's why a lot of what I do is just trying to get you to think about how this is going to affect you later on in life, without making you feel overwhelmed and making you stressed and anxious and worried. It's just having that at the back of your minds.
yeah, I love that. And I know that you have something that you sell or you've got going on that you coach your clients on at the moment. Please tell us about what that is, your 12-week program.
Yeah, so I am a health and lifestyle coach for women in their 20s and 30s. And I have a 12-week program where I coach you in these 12 weeks, how to, depending on your goals, so depending on the client's goals and what they want out of the 12 weeks, I then set a program and help them habit build and educate them on nutrition, um, physical exercise, daily habits that they can start incorporating. I can't recommend supplements, but I do give you education about supplements, and just to try and reach your health goals in those 12 weeks. So that's my coaching program. And then we have bi-weekly calls where I'll coach you, and then an app where I give you daily things to do depending on your goals and what you want.
I love that so much. You're a wealth of knowledge. So, like, definitely, it's like the place to be if you're someone who has started to notice these symptoms, these signs, anything to do with your hormone health, gut health, like anything at all in terms of your health. Like, I think Nicola is definitely the person that you need to go and see. And now, yeah, please tell us where we can find you so that we can come in and find you and see you and with all of the things to do with our health.
Yeah, so I am on Instagram called Holistic Nix, and in my bio there is a link you can go on to and book a call. It's a free call where we can just talk about what you're looking for and if we are a good match, because I want you to feel that I can help you, and I'll be completely honest if I can help you with what your goals are. Just one reminder to everyone is that we are all bio individual, which means what works for me may not necessarily work for you. And the same, what works for someone on Instagram or one of your friends may not work for you, and that's okay. You just need to listen to your body, and doing something else differently will get you to where you want to be. But try not force yourself to go on this diet, force yourself to do something, because if your body or you don't want to do it, it's fine. We're not all made for the same thing.
100%. I totally agree. Well, thank you so much, Nicola, for coming on and giving us all of your expertise and telling us more about our health, our gut health, our hormone health. It's been incredible. And I know the listeners at home and myself, we really benefit from it. So thank you so much for spreading your messages.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a 5-star rate and review, because this helps this podcast get up in the algorithm so we can share the messages far and wide. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all next week.